Welcome back to Supernova Traveler. If you are new, thank you for joining our Travel Around the World family. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are returning, thank you for your support and share my channel and continue your journey. Today we review Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 5 through 6. Last night was magic and defending your wife. Let's start with Haley and Jacob because they're pretty much boring. They have breakfast and they talk about how family and friends have been checking in to ascertain how the relationship is going thus far, although it's only been one night. And they start talking about how they can work out together. I feel like Jacob has a lot of personality, but his voice just brings down all the energy in the room.
Whatever, it happened, okay? We have been drinking the whole night. And so I was like, why not? I'm married to the guy.
So Haley admits that her and Jacob have had sex, but she makes it seem as if it was only because she was drunk and that she is not very interested in Jacob. After having sex, Jacob says Haley shut down. I'm thinking
United, or at least there, and then it seemed like you just kind of pulled away. And honestly, right now, I don't see this current formula as a path to success, I guess.
I'm thinking it must not have been good. So Haley and Jacob have a small disagreement because Haley feels that they are not getting to know each other on a deeper level. Now, when people say that, I get offended for the person on the receiving end because no one knows what a deeper level is, and you have to ask the right questions to get deeper. From Haley's behavior, instead of finding and asking the right questions, she seems as if she has been avoiding Jacob and lacking communication. She was not ready for what she signed up for. At least that is my first impression on them being together and being married. Let's move on to another couple. Clara and Ryan wake up to their first full day in Vegas and they have a very normal conversation. And they tackle the idea of how regimented Ryan is and how unregimented Clara is.
I would like to have 3 kids. That would be cool. Again, practicality in your head versus actuality are 2 different things.
Even her job as a flight attendant is not routine. They talk about how she may cancel, be late, or postpone events very often, which in some relationships can be a problem, but with her job, Ryan will have to be a little understanding. They then go on a little date and you see them bonding over playing with the dolphins, and they sit and talk about baby names and the eventuality of them living together.
What is something you would say that you really learned from your parents that you want to pass on to your kids, or the way that they raise you, or whatever it is?
They have really good energy together. They have a hard conversation about raising children and the values they want to impart on them that they valued from their parents. You can see the intensity in Ryan's face because he really wants to raise his children in the church. Clara is fine with that, but she also wants to give her children freedom through knowledge to do what they feel is best for themselves.
No, that's good. The first thing would be like whatever my kid wants to try.
Sure.
I want to support them 100%.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. I know that for Ryan that may be something hard to hear, but when it comes to church and God, your job as a parent is to raise them. Hopefully you're imparting, God onto your children. But at the end of the day, every human being, whether it's your child or a friend or a relative, has to follow their own path. And it's not really for you to judge, it's for you to hopefully support and guide as necessary. So then they go to dinner, having their first official date as a married couple, and they discuss living with each other. What I see is that Clara is ready to compromise any way she can to uplift and have a successful marriage. And although Ryan seems like a really nice guy, he comes off a bit stubborn to me, such as he's a type to adjust for what he wants, but he is not really ready to adjust for what someone else wants. Meaning that sometimes you have to pick and choose your battles in a relationship, and I don't know if Ryan's going to really pick and choose. And I'm not sure if he's honestly interested in compromising when it doesn't suit what he wants. So hopefully he will be able to do half and half of certain things and be able to compromise. This is not a bad thing, but loving someone or getting to the point is an act of selflessness. So hopefully Ryan will learn this. So Virginia and Eric wake up and talk about the other couples and mention that everyone seems to be vibing, but they feel some distance between Paige and Chris. And we all know the reason for that. She then goes down to the pool with Clara to have a talk.
Throwing you off, and you're both gonna have to compromise.
I'm not giving you up anyway.
No, not at all. But say, like maybe for the first couple months you just hang out in group settings.
She mentions, not being being around people who don't really drink. And to me, I feel like I hate people who drink a lot of alcohol, who say they're so worried when someone else that does not drink and they feel self-conscious about it. Then if you feel self-conscious about people who don't drink being around you while you're drinking, you might be drinking way too much.
I feel like my biggest worry, my family's biggest worry was, at the wedding, we weren't really drinking. Not that that's a huge part of my life, but I like to party, I like to do things.
All of them are fun, but...
Anywho, they then talk about jealousy because Virginia supposedly has a lot of male friends and Eric does not believe men and women can be friends. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but Eric has underhandedly stated that he thinks Virginia is a bit messy. When they were in the pool, he said, "I'm in a place in my life where I can't be messy." These two go to dinner, and although Virginia first said that she was okay with him being a pilot, but now she's realizing how absent he will be from the relationship, and even brings up how ultimately she may be married but living like a single mom. And that is a valid fear, I suppose. So Eric and Virginia get back to the room, and Eric looked like he's having a come to Jesus moment and realizes he has been barely functioning in his attempt to keep up drinking with Virginia.
We've been doing so well. But, when it comes to, the partying and all that, there are going to be very big things that are, deal breakers for me.
We're drinking every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's just, how we are. And I would love for you to do that with
Virginia. And Virginia is very okay being an alcoholic. When Virginia is sober, she looks and seems good. But since we've been watching this show, she is rarely sober from what I see.
Yeah, I found out some information this morning. And it is, I won't say devastating, but it is something that I have to deal with.
What?
It doesn't matter.
I want to start by saying that Chris's demeanor is that of a child. Matter of fact, I've seen children with better behavior. To compare him to anything or anyone would probably be an insult. So we enter in on Chris' gaslighting page by looking somber, but yet not sharing devastating news. So after Paige leaves the room and Chris has all his dramatics, he puts Paige into the bathroom, runs the sink and bath water, then tells Paige to unmic. Paige...
Right. What the Right.
Paige goes to Brianna and Chris goes to Vincent, and they both confide in them about Chris's having a baby on the way. I think Chris is really just worried how people will view him because he has been mentioning ever since he became married, I seem like an asshole, which means he knows he has a bad personality. He is worried about Paige staying with him, and Paige is trying to see if she should be a struggle wife.
Or does she think that there would be a possibility that y'all would get back together?
Right now, doesn't matter if she's pregnant or not. You're my wife. Nobody comes before you.
So Chris and Paige go to dinner, and Paige talks about it's been a lot to hear in the last 3 days, and if she had to make a decision today, she would have to divorce. Then here go Chris lying through his teeth, looking at the camera and telling her everything he feels she wants to hear, calling her queen, and that the Bible says she comes before everyone. They later have food in the room, and they discuss him helping take care of her dog, and he says he does not want to help in the care. Then they discuss money, and he says he wants to keep everything separated and not have joint accounts, and says if she needs something, he will give it to her. So we get to the end of the honeymoon, and Chris and Paige are packing, and everything is let out. Chris literally says he's been talking to his ex behind her back about getting back together, as well as that he still loves his ex-fiancée, Paige. Why are you still there? Brianna and Vincent wake up for breakfast, and they talk about how the Vincent family scare brought them closer together emotionally. They then discuss where to live, and Brianna says she wants a condo, and in 2 to 3 years, when they decide to grow their family, they can move into a townhouse. So they go and talk to Paige separately and Chris separately, and they find out the crazy news about the baby mama. Vincent and Brianna come back together after talking to Paige and Chris, and they both agree that if they were in that situation, they would leave Chris. Brianna and Vincent go out to dinner, and they are full-blown in lust and happiness, and he picks her up off her feet and carries her over the sand. They admit at dinner that they consummated the marriage. Brianna...
I told him to dim the lights in the skies as well.
When you talk to God. Father.
Brianna and Vincent are running into personality differences where he is starting to see how bossy Brianna is, such as Vincent takes his time and is very laid back, and Brianna is very impatient and seems to rush everything. She also seems to need a lot of attention. These two go indoor skydiving. They look like they're having fun, and I think Vincent is one of those silent type guys that's going to have like a hard time trying to impress Brianna. Like, it's going to really change his attitude about a lot of things. So during these 2 episodes, we had 3 group dates, and I'm going to just go ahead and go through each group date and my thoughts about it. So group conversation number 1, they go on their first group date and they start to share how things are going. Brianna and Vincent are obviously smitten with one another. Jacob and Haley bring up how their families hit it off, but obviously they have not hit it off. And Clara and Ryan talk about their mixtape connection. We get to Paige and Chris, and they drop the news to the group about the baby, and Chris is so narcissistic that all he zeroes in on is that everyone is supporting Paige and not him.
Everybody seems to be supportive, but everybody's more so supportive of Paige.
He even states he is worrying about himself. Like, they told you that you have a match and that you're going to be married at first sight, and you choose to go to a funeral and have sex with your ex-fiancée, basically cheating on a woman that you have not met yet, and you feel that people should be on your side or feel bad for you. Like, come on, Chris. You need to grow up. Anywho, Eric and Virginia are late. Chris becomes upset and leaves the group to go fake cry in the corner, basically trying to become the center of attention. He goes back to the group, and they are joined by Eric and Virginia finally, who have been sweeping problems under the rug because they know they just been having a few drunken nights and they fake getting along until I guess they get along. They ask the group who has been intimate, and Vincent and Brianna fess up, and Virginia lets the group know she isn't there yet. I don't know, but while watching Eric explain why they have not had sex, he seems to be defending himself as if he was rejected and doesn't want people to know. Because honestly, if it could have just happened already, then it would have been happened, dude. Thou protest too much. So because Virginia and Eric were late, Chris has to repeat the news about having a baby on the way.
I got a call today from my ex-fiancée that she's pregnant.
And Virginia makes a joke about if the baby is his, which upsets Chris farther, and he feels as if he's been disrespected. And the rest of the group looks really uncomfortable.
Like, it's for sure yours.
With a statement, especially when we don't know each other, of, is the baby yours? The question was actually disrespectful.
So Chris is just basically making everything about him, making the room uncomfortable, and he seems to be the person that does that a lot. Even when they were doing the bachelor parties and when they were meeting up, and he mentioned, about the women possibly being ugly. So we have group conversation number 2. And that starts off episode 6. So the men and women are having separate dates so they can talk about the experience so far. The women go to learn how to make cocktails, and the men go and learn to play craps or whatever the dice game is called. And we hear from Vinny and Brianna first. And Brianna basically sounds like the type that has a lot of pet peeves and can get away with annoying people because she is cute. Like, she says Vincent is unstructured and uses the fact that he was texting before getting ready. Like, let him get ready at his own pace. He's not going with you. He going by himself. Let him be late if he wants to be. Eric is drunk because of Virginia, and it is making him look crazy on TV. Eric is saying how great everything is, while Virginia is telling the group how they have a few issues, mainly in regards to Eric being conservative and possibly a bit judgmental. They do a flashback with Virginia telling Clara about Eric's antic about relationships between men and women, and Clara gave really good advice. And every time I see Clara on screen, I love her even more. I still think she may be annoying in person sometimes, but she comes off as a really amazing person and would definitely be a great friend. I'm tired of hearing Haley talk about being single for so long. Why you sign up for this show if you love being single so much? She's becoming annoying. I hope it gets better because I think Jacob is a great guy thus far, just a bit boring, especially his voice. Thus far, we find out everyone is having sex except for Eric and Virginia. Oh, and Clara and Ryan, they haven't really been very specific about if they're having sex or not. Okay, and now we have group conversation number 3 of episode 6. So it looks like Virginia and Eric, Ryan and Clara, Paige and Chris all go ATV driving, and they have the 2 girls approach Chris about the baby mama drama.
Explanation. So, say on my business. Simple as that.
Okay.
And checking in with him about Paige. I'm floored by both Chris and Virginia. Chris is not a man. He is a child in a man-baby body. Honestly,
to me. I don't give a about you.
Honestly, Virginia should have spoken less because the marriage is not her concern. And when Chris became rude in his speech, she should have walked away. But the way Chris speaks in general is not okay, and he becomes very defensive very quickly. He had me dying when he said he went above and beyond telling Paige he had a baby on the way because it was embarrassing.
I think she wants this so badly that she's sticking with it. Stockholm Syndrome.
He honestly only thinks of himself and what puts him in a good standing. He only truly cares about his image and not the factual reality. He continues to taunt Virginia on the way back. When you look at Chris, I am reminded of episode 1 when Paige's family stated that there is a difference between a man saying he is God-fearing and actually being God-fearing. The group then meets for the last meeting in Vegas, having a group dinner, and Chris begins to apologize for his behavior. But again, Virginia and Eric are late, and Chris goes from calm to irate in a matter of minutes because Eric's words.
You are borderline scaring people.
Chris is not humble. He is not a man of God. All he does is make excuses for his behavior. Eric basically tells Chris that his behavior towards Virginia was inappropriate, and all Chris had to do was state to Eric, "You're right. Although I felt offended or disrespected does not mean that I return such behavior or speak to a woman in that manner, and I could have just walked away. Virginia, I apologize for my aggression, and he should have moved on. Look, I don't like Virginia, but sometimes you have to let things go, and Chris has too much ego to do that. Like, he could have just phrased it and moved on, but instead he got angry because someone else wanted to defend their wife. Yes, he did miss the apology that you gave, But, you know, man, just let it go.
Chris and Paige come, it's about to be some drama. Like, that's not who we are. That's not what we're trying to convey.
Anywho, that's the end, and that's my review for the last 2 episodes, 5 and 6. I'm going to come out with the rest of the season and finish it off for everyone. I'm also going to start 90 Day Fiancé the other way. And I swear to you that now that I'm monetized, I'm definitely going to be more consistent. I fell off for a few months. I've been doing a lot of moving around in my life, but I am back.